Hello and welcome to another edition of Myrtles Rant. We have a new year. Oh, well, it's Chinese New Year anyway, now that we're in the month of February. And so I'm wishing everybody a new year, Happy New Year from Myrtles Rant and the Hotbox Show. And it does feel like a new year, although we're a month into it, almost a month and a half into it. And I've been thinking today about what to rant about, and what has really been occupying my mind over the last few weeks at least is how far have we come? How do we measure this? Because at the moment it feels like in this area of cannabis activism, cannabis legalization, cannabis community and culture, that there's lots of people that are racing forward with their businesses and hopefully doing very well, and of that we're really proud of. But we seem to be somewhat stagnated when it comes to having any good news when it comes to the cannabis industry in South Africa. We haven't heard anything about the bill. We haven't heard anything about the master plan. I know that, as I've always said, we will see the most movement on the provincial level, and I know that the Western Cape Can Plan has been having a few meetings which I've been following along with. But as we move into this very busy time of the year in our cannabis industry, we're going into March, which is traditionally the month of C&D, and I'll talk a bit about that a bit later. And then where everybody's busy advertising their events for 420 in April, which is our dedicated month of cannabis culture, where we have loads and loads of fun. But what have we got to actually take into this new cannabis year? Tonight, I think it's at 8 o'clock tonight, we will have another SONA, State of the Nation address by our president, and we know for the last 3 years that he has promised to have some sort of movement on the commercialization of cannabis and blah 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 and more blah blah blah. So I think it will be very embarrassing for him to actually mention cannabis again tonight. So I think that's the only reason why I'll go and watch the SONA tonight, is because maybe he'll mention cannabis again and then he'll really have egg on his face. We haven't heard a thing, but we soldier on. And that brings me to some very, very exciting news, that I'll be traveling to Spain with ICEAs on the Catalonian Cannabis Club tour. What do I tell people in Spain? Well, I tell them that we're in exactly the situation that they are in Spain. Spain has also not seen any movement on the actual de facto legalization of their clubs, or they are the absolute pioneers in this part of things. Because in South Africa, while some clubs might be launching now and splashing all over social media, which doesn't make them private, other clubs are really feeling threatened. There's rumors going around that certain clubs are going to be targeted by the police. We still have to raise 150,000 Rand for the Haze Club case, and I really feel a responsibility for the Haze Club and for Neil and how brave he is taking this all the way to the Supreme Court of Appeal. We still have our Labour Court case, which is pending. We haven't heard a thing as to what a date, and we still need to raise at least 50,000 Rand for Bernie to proceed. And then we're going to Vienna and we're asking for money again when there really is no economy and no money left for non-profit companies. So where does that leave us? That leaves us making an appeal to those people who are making money in the cannabis industry, those people who've got a fruitful and abundant relationship with the cannabis plant when it comes to their bank balance. So that's the frustration. I really do think that the reason why we have seen the corporate capture of cannabis, and we see repeated news reports showing us all of these beautiful weed plants growing under lights, using Eskom that we don't have, and exporting that weed. So my rant today is, where are you, those people who are reaping abundance from the cannabis industry? Where are you when we really, really most need your help? The reason why the so-called medical cannabis industry in South Africa is supposed to be worth so much is because those are the people who have the capital to put in. Now, why don't you do a bit of a greenwashing campaign? Why don't you go and say, look how we are supporting the cannabis community in South Africa by supporting Fields of Green for All, who feel a bit embarrassed to ask our community for money because we know that everybody's struggling. We will show your name in lights if you do that. Oh, but no. We have to appeal to our international community and our GoFundMe campaign. We have to try and appeal to our local community to raise money for the Labour Court, the Haze Club case, the interdict against the police, and of course the umbrella of the trial of the plant, all the while keeping going as a non-profit company. But I must say that if it wasn't for my amazing team here at Fields of Green for All, we wouldn't be anywhere and we wouldn't keep going at all, because Joe repainted our beautiful Hotbox studio this week out of her own pocket. Amy is keeping up with all of our affiliates and making sure that they get a balanced agreement with Fields of Green for All when they give us their monthly donations. Charl is busy helping with blog posts and social media posts so that we can keep up with our marketing campaign. And Rian is, while working really hard in the movie industry, is keeping all our technical stuff going. So we have this amazing team on the ground. We've got a small group of now 25 affiliate companies who support us every month, and to them we are eternally grateful. But it could be so much bigger. We really could see results, and this brings me back to the beginning again. Where are the results of our work on the international arena? Well, we have achieved our Ecosuch status, and we certainly are being heard on an international level, and the results are happening. But it's complicated stuff. For example, at the WHO, there are ongoing discussions about indigenous medicines, and that's not connected to C&D, and that might be one of our things going forward as the voice of legacy cannabis, to connect those two. But we can't do that unless we can participate, and in order to participate, that takes time and energy and of course money. So we are making progress. I sometimes doubt myself, but then our international colleagues always reassure us that we are making progress. So I really hope that I won't have to rant about money again in the very near future. As I say, the best way to support us is to sign up as an affiliate or to be an individual Green Network member. And if you do know of somebody who has an abundant life, thank you to the cannabis industry, maybe you could pass on this message, because we are really trying to get this job done that Jules and I started nearly 13 years ago. And on next Tuesday is Valentine's Day, and that will be the anniversary of Jules and my first court appearance in the Krugersdorp Magistrates Court. And that will be 2010 to 2012, 13 years since that first Magistrates Court appearance. And we would really like to be able to put a timeline on wrapping all of this up. We can't keep going to Vienna year in and year out without seeing any progress. And now that we are making some progress, let's keep up the momentum so that cannabis can show the way for broader drug policy reform across the board. This is not only about to legalize or not to legalize. This is about herbal cannabis. We don't need medicinal cannabis. We don't need pharmaceutical cannabis. We need cannabis as medicine for whatever reason that you're going to use the plant. And that's the bigger picture story. But we thank you in advance for your support, and we thank those people who are already supporting us. And that's my rant for today. Lots of love from everybody at Fields of Green for All.